So hey guys, hey internet, it's Inkeater, and welcome to VAM, Vinyl and Music News, where we talk about vinyl. I swear, there's vinyl in this episode, yes. Music, and sometimes music news. So tonight I kind of wanted to talk about that song that gives you the butterflies. You know, the song that comes on the radio or all of a sudden shows up in your playlist on shuffle, and it just sends shivers down your spine, or goosebumps, or sends the hairs on your arm standing up. I'm curious what that song is. For me, it happens to be two groups. One is The Cure. I've talked about this album way long ago when we didn't even know what this was even called. It wasn't even called VAM back in the day. So if you're curious about that, I will leave a link somewhere over here. Plus we talk about how sexy the record is, because it's dang sexy. I think it's kind of interesting though when you go to look up, on a streaming service, certain albums. It turns out this one doesn't pop up when you go on Spotify, which is like, haha, I have something that Spotify doesn't have. Does anybody else do that? Like, you get super stoked when you have something that Spotify doesn't have? Because I was trying to remember which song it was that I wanted to talk about. I want to say it was Killing an Arab and Boys Don't Cry. Essentially, I love this entire album, and it gives me the complete feels. I will say, though, Just Like Heaven is another song by The Cure, but the song that kind of drove this conversation happens to be on this album, Pretty in Pink. How many of you guys remember this album, or this movie, per se? It's probably one of my favorite movies, or it goes down as one of my favorite movies. And specifically, it would have to be the song, Please, Please, Please Let Me Get What I Want by The Smiths. The Smiths is one of those bands that will give me the absolute butterflies in my stomach and give me the feels, even years later. Although I think it's kind of interesting how when you go to look up songs, there's like all these remastered versions, especially if they're from like the 80s and they remastered it like 2 or 3 times, and it's like, really, like, what happened between 2008 and 2011 that you needed to create 2 more versions? Money. Or at least that's my theory. Anyway, I'm not hating either, because, hey, people need to make a living, people need to eat. But yeah, the Smiths just happens to be one of those bands that gives me the feels. And it kind of got me thinking, what are some songs that give you guys the feels? That song that basically takes you back to a moment in time, maybe, or gives you butterflies in your stomach, essentially, and makes you just feel things. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I will leave a link to a playlist of these songs if I can, because apparently some of them are available, some of them aren't. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing awesome, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye!
Whatever it is that you believe you're seeing, it's not real.
Seeing things before they happen. Things are not always what they seem in this place. So you can't take anything for granted.